Hello, my name is Tiera Skovbye, and Good Housekeeping has invited me to their crafts corner today to arrange some flowers. But before we do that, please check out Nurses on Tuesdays at 10/9 Central on NBC.
Hi, Tiera.
Hello, how are you?
Good, I'm Liz. I'm the Visual Styling Director at Good Housekeeping. And
Nice to meet you.
I'm going to share some tips today on how to make a floral arrangement.
Ooh, I can't wait.
Yeah, I can see in the corner of your screen you have some beautiful flowers peeking in.
I do. I have a giant tub of
They're
all the
beautiful.
flowers.
Where'd you get them from?
I got them from a friend of mine who runs a company called Bear Blossoms. They do a flower subscription.
Oh,
So you basically sign up and they drop a box of beautiful fresh flowers at your house every week
Amazing.
or every second week. Yeah.
They're beautiful. I'm going to share some tips before we actually get to arranging on just things that have sort of worked best for me. Again, like there is really no rhyme or reason to it. This is not really a vase, but it's actually an old jelly mold that I got at like a thrift store a million years ago, but I like to use this as a vase because it's nice and heavy.
Totally.
I've got my trusty floral clippers.
I mean, mine are slightly less trusty. They're just regular scissors, so
It's totally fine.
It'll
As long
work.
as you feel comfortable using them, it's great. I like to do a little trick with some just regular clear tape that I can walk you through, just to kind of
I
help
have no
create-
idea what you're gonna do with this. To be completely honest, when they were like Scotch tape, I was like,
I know,
flowers?
it's like, what?
Okay.
And then I just have the little pack of flower food that sometimes comes with flowers. If yours doesn't, that's totally fine, but it's just one thing that can help kind of prolong the life of your arrangement. And then I've got some pretty cold water, just from the sink.
Yeah.
So one thing that a lot of professional floral designers will use is something called a flower frog. It's sort of a
Okay.
funny term. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
Oh yeah, and so they all stand upright,
You
right?
sit it inside of your vase and it just sort of helps, keep the stems up. So this is something that designers use a lot, but I've kind of come up with a little hack that you can use on any vase using tape. So what the frog does is it just sort of creates a grid for your flowers to sit in, so it just makes starting the arrangement a lot easier. I'm gonna add in some water. Actually, first, I'm gonna add in some flower food just because I happen to have it here. Some people say that if you don't have this, you can use a little bit of sugar and a little bit of vinegar,
interesting.
actually. And the sugar is good food for the flowers, and the vinegar helps keep your water cleaner.
Oh,
sort of-
okay. I always just kind of rinse mine out after a couple of days and put fresh water in.
That's like probably the best method. I always suggest like every other day trying to give the arrangement some fresh water, because you do want to prevent the stems from rotting in the water. It sounds gross, but
Right.
that's sort of what happens. So I'm just gonna fill my vase only about halfway. I think if you fill it any more, one, it makes the arrangement a lot heavier and you could spill it.
Yeah.
But also because you don't want any of the leaves or petals of the flowers to sit in the water. You want the stems to be really clean because that'll also help keep the water cleaner and keep the flowers lasting longer. Well, so now we're ready to start arranging. So what I like to do is I usually start with some greenery. You want to create almost like a pillow or a bed for your special flowers. I'm just going to remove some of these lower leaves because I don't want those to sit in the water. When you are working with cut flowers, you always want to trim them at least an inch from the bottom. And you want to try to trim them on a 45-degree angle. That just helps them absorb a little bit more water. So you're on this new show, Nurses, which is very exciting.
Yeah. I was really excited about it initially because it was a show primarily focusing on the nurses, which I was like, oh, this is cool. This isn't really something that's been done before because usually it's the doctors.
The doctors,
The focal points. It was my first time, really being a lead on a show, and our cast, we all got along so well, and it was such an exciting experience for all of us to get started filming this. And I quickly became really, really good friends with all the cast. Second season, I ended up living with Natasha, who plays Ashley. It was just fun. It was so special filming this show.
Once you've kind of got a nice sort of bed of greenery, you can start adding in your larger or more specialty blooms.
Okay.
So just sort of the same way, just sort of layering them, and I'm kind of crisscrossing them also as I go in. So since I'm using a sort of more shallow lower bowl, I kind of almost put them in at like a 45-degree angle. But since you're working with a taller vase, you can kind of just sit them in and let them rest on the greens that you've already kind of put in.
Gotcha.
That looks beautiful. And I also try to like rotate my arrangement every so often, just so I'm not like focusing on one area and forgetting about another. So I've been like arranging flowers around the house so much more often since we've all been at home, and I've just found it to be such like a therapeutic, calming thing to do. So have you been doing anything to sort of help while you're locked down at home, or if you're trying to prepare for a day of work?
Yeah, I mean, this whole year was such a crazy adjustment with everything that happened, and being sent home from filming, and coming back to Vancouver and kind of being stuck in this limbo of not knowing when we were going to go back to filming. And I think for me, you know, kind of some of the things that helped get me through were just kind of finding whatever routine I could have, whether that was like putting on clothes that weren't just sweatpants, or you know, doing an at-home workout, or, you know, Skyping with friends. And, you know, a big thing for me was just, yeah, finding that routine and have a bath every night and read a book and try and feel as normal and grounded as possible, even though everything was so up in the air all the time.
Tiera, do you have a favorite flower or like a favorite color palette that you like to use for things around your house?
I'm definitely a wildflower type of girl. Like I love sunflowers are my favorite, daisies, but I definitely do like color palette wise. My whole apartment is very like pink, white, and gray. So anything like white and pink, I kind of feel like I gravitate towards the most, just because it kind of goes with the flow of my apartment.
So for the show Nurses, given everything that's sort of gone on in the last year, do you think you guys are going to be addressing any of that on the upcoming season?
It wouldn't make sense for us to film a medical show during a global pandemic and not address it. So it does come up. I think it comes up in a way that is very respectful to, you know, people who have gone through it, but also in a way that's paying tribute to the nurses and everything that they've gone through. None of us had any idea what it was going to be like filming during a pandemic, because it's never been done before. So it was definitely a learning experience for everybody. I think everybody, you know, was very patient, very diligent. I mean, I got used to the protocols pretty quickly. I didn't get used to getting a swab into my brain twice a week, but no, I think we did really well. I'm really, really proud of everybody on the show and how hard we all worked. Okay, so this is kind of where I'm at so
It's
far.
looking beautiful. I love the different heights. I love the mix of white with the colors. I think that's really nice. Now that you are clearly a pro, was that painful? Was it challenging?
It was so fun. It woke this like extra creative side of my brain that I didn't know I had.
Nice.
And now I've got this like giant bucket of flowers that I'm gonna continue to play with. There's just gonna be like arrangements everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere, all over the house.
Yeah.
It's like you live in a flower shop.
Oh, so nice. I love it. Thank you guys so much for having me on Good Housekeeping. I feel like I could be a florist now. Make sure you check out Nurses on Tuesdays on NBC and subscribe to Good Housekeeping.